This is great. So you get a free university degree and then a job that secures all your jobs and rights and a place in the middle class. Middle class. Secure your place in the middle class. I would assume that there's something here and here, but if there are no poor because they're all in the middle class and you have to take it from the rich, then there's really not a middle class anymore, is there? If the government is guaranteeing your education and job, I mean, wow, that's great. But it seems to me that they would have to control then the universities and all the jobs to do that. Wouldn't that give the government a lot of... Maybe that's who's here. That's it, the middle class, because the government is here pointing guns at you. Anyway, let's not get bogged down in all the details that much. I mean, let's just hear some more about the utopia he was talking about.
There's a lot of misinformation out there about socialism and anarchism and different, isms or ideologies.
Stop it. I mean, there's a lot of misinformation floating around about moronism, too. And he seems to be infected with it, but I digress.
We also believe that there's a food right. Well, we believe that people have a right to food. We believe that there is a food right. We believe that there is a housing right.
Yeah!
We believe that where you live, you own, that you have a property right to a home, and that it cannot be taken away.
Wait a minute, did I see somebody with a purple jacket? An SEIU member there holding a banner at the Socialist Communist get-together? Thing is, if we're getting, the free college degree, a guaranteed job, guaranteed food, guaranteed house, if the government is providing all of that, jobs, foods, home, can I ask you, who needs the education and who really wants the job? I'm going to just sit back and eat in my house. Kind of a waste of time. You know what else you don't need? Oh, my goodness. Unions. I mean, what a waste of union dues, don't you think? Now, it seems to me like somebody loses in this equation. For instance, everybody who already has these things or have ever worked hard for these things. Seems kind of like maybe civilization might lose an itsy bit, but, other than everybody just losing incentive to move, and we become just a society of fat, lazy, communist slobs standing in cheese lines. Other than that, I think this plan is great. Let's listen to him talk some more, because I'm this close.
There are a few other values that we hold near and dear to our hearts as socialists.
I'm just trying to, think out of the box, like the value of placing people in shelters surrounded by barbed wire and then gassing them as soon as they're no longer useful. Oh, that was near and dear to the hearts of the National Socialists in Germany, or the 7 million people that were starved to death in the Ukraine in the 1930s. Wow. I wonder if they were thinking, hey, what happened to my promise of free food as their children were starving? Oh. But anyway, let's listen to this genius, because he's so eloquently laying it out for us.
Like the right to organize unions, the right to organize every workplace. And yes, we do believe in democracy. Let me tell you something about the word Soviet. The word Soviet from the Soviet Union means workers' council. It's a workers' union. This was a nation of workers' unions, and that's how everybody voted on every issue in society.
That's right, and they did all vote like that, just like you'd vote in the union. Isn't it great? That's the key, really, to that nation running so beautifully. The democracy of a workers' union. Wow. I always wondered what brought us what was it, the ZIL? Oh, I love those cars. They never ran, but they were great. They're good to look at. Not really, but you know what I mean. Through the years, Lenin and Stalin probably only murdered about 20 million people. The entire system collapsed and transformed, but I guess it could have been worse. He's right. Unions were the key to making all of it happen. Unions and pensions. Unions and pensions, it's weird, destroyed GM and Chrysler. They're bringing down cities and states all over the country. Got it? Special thanks, by the way, to Kyle Olson from BigGovernment.com for bringing the story to our attention. If you want to check out more of our friend socialist rant here from Fist Youth, By the way, anybody see the picture of John Bon Jovi? Yeah, he was on stage. He had this, behind him. It's great. It's everywhere. I love it. Go communism. Anyway, go to biggovernment.com for all the information. If you have all this socialist, Marxist stuff and union stuff down now, you can move on with your life. But wait, actually, no, because you have the socialists and the communists and the union stuff, but I'm about to add to that. We have some brand new information on the bald communist guy. Remember? The bald communist guy we should have been showing you. We're going to bring down the United States of America. We laughed him off as a clown. It's weird when you have a television show and people actually care about their country, because they lead us into places, dark corners that nobody has ever looked before. I'm going to show you something about the bald communist and the Breck Foundation that you will not. Yes, you will. You watch the show, you will believe it. It's amazing. Next. We announced that we have the congressman that has just resigned. He's a Democrat, and he's the guy who Rahm Emanuel has said all kinds of things about. He says that the whole system is corrupt. He's got stories to tell. Washington apparently is abuzz because they watch this show. They're freaking out that he's going to be on the show here tomorrow for a full hour. See, I disagree with the Democratic congressman on a few things, but I don't think corruption. I think we're going to have lots to talk about. Tons. So anyway, that's tomorrow's program at 5 o'clock. You don't want to miss it. Sometimes we get information that is so bizarre we don't think it's possibly true, but we try to track everything down. A lot of times it's not. We reject far more stories than we're able to bring to you every day. A ton is just left on the table. Some of it might be true, some of it might not be. But a watchdog tip came in from Scott Wheeler, and sometimes the bizarre ends up being the truth. So let me start at the beginning. Everyone in New York wants to talk about Governor Patterson and how incredibly evil he is for getting tickets to a Yankees game, and maybe he is, I don't really know. It's New York. New York, that's the least of your problems. To review, may I? The state is projecting a deficit of $8.2 billion this year. It has the second highest tax burden, second highest among all of the states. They spend at a rate that is 33% above the national average. Wow. The number of New York State workers making six-figure salaries, that's $100,000 plus, is the largest in state history. In fact, it's 4 times higher than it was a decade ago. 4 times higher. Wow. With all of these seemingly insurmountable problems, you'd have to believe that they're very careful about where their money goes, right? Because, I mean, whoa, look at those problems. Well, one of the places that your money goes is the New York State Council on the Arts. Now, they're in the business of dishing out money to a bunch of starving artists that you'll never see, because there's no way that there are enough people in New York interested in art. Are you kidding me? To support a vibrant artistic community on its own? I go down Broadway all the time. There's nothing but hardware stores there. Well, the New York State Council on the Arts is there to pick up and look and choose between which art projects deserve your hard-earned money. You know, the ones that maybe could buy your kids new shoes, or someday I'd like health care. Well, they receive both state and national funding. And then it's dispersed among the starving artists du jour, or as they put it, they are dedicated to preserving and expanding the rich and diverse cultural resources that are and will become the heritage of New York citizens. Oh, thank you. Now, how diverse are these cultural resources? Well, as we scanned a list of grant recipients, one name kind of jumped out at us. Guess who got $9,000 of funding this year? You're going to love this. You're going to love this. The Brecht Forum. Yeah. Now, if you've been watching this show for the last couple of weeks, you know who that is. But if you just tuned in first day with the program, let me remind you who this is.
We have to help bring this government down. We have to help destroy this system, and that requires increasing the alienation that working class and oppressed people feel. The way change is going to happen in this country is through the destruction of what we call the United States of America.